Most people don't start animating because they think they need the right tools, they need the drawing skills, when in reality, you do not need that to get started animating because there are so many ways to start animating without drawing a single frame. And if you want a simple way to do it, all you need are these two objects. I know it seems strange that you could animate with these two objects because most people, when they think about animation, you think of 3D animation, you think of traditional hand-drawn animation, when in reality, there is this subgenre of animation called stop motion animation. And stop motion animation is actually very famous. You know about Coraline, Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. What about Chicken Run? And then there's Wallace and Gromit and all of those movies. Those are all stop motion. Coraline and Nightmare Before Christmas, they use a combination of 3D printing and found objects to create these stunning, very stylistic animations. And Chicken Run and Wallace and Gromit, those are stop motion animations called claymation animations because they're all made out of clay. But how can you do this if you don't have clay and you do not have a 3D printer? How can you do it with objects? You can do it with objects because animation is not about the drawing. As I just talked about, you have stop motion animation, claymation, you have paper animation. In my opinion, animation has always had two parts, and neither of them are about drawing. Drawing is like a third part. The first two important parts of animation, one, animation means making something move through a sequence of images. And the second part of animation is that it tells a story that people care about. Most well known for creating animations that tell stories through images are things like 3D animations and traditional hand-drawn animation. So if you don't have a software or drawing talent and you still want to animate, how can you animate without a huge budget and without all these crazy fancy technology things that movies tend to have, like this? These two objects will let you animate. The first part of the animation definition that I gave is that you have a series of images that make it look like an object is moving. So you need to get some images. Most phones, they have a camera. You take pictures with your phone and you can make an animation. But you need something to take a picture of. So this is your main character object, because now we get into the second part of that definition, and that is storytelling. You're going to make your audience care about this banana. It is your main character. It is what you are going to form your story around, which is that second part of animation. And you can get very creative with your object. You can make it look like this object is searching, that it's lonely, that it's getting eaten. There are so many options. One of the best things that I like about animation is that you can literally animate something 100 different ways. You can tell 100 stories. It's just up to what you want to do. Once you have the way to take pictures and the object and what story you're going to tell, it's very easy to find the place that you're going to set up your story, and you're going to set up your camera. I highly recommend that you find a way to prop up your phone so that your phone stays in one place. If your phone doesn't stay in one place as you take the images, you're going to get this shaky camera movement. I think I did this old animation once where I did that with a bunch of different found candies, and you can see that it's pretty shaky. But if you can find a way to keep it steady, either using a phone stand, which I'll link in the description below if you really want to get one, but you could also just do this by putting your phone between two books, and it'll just limit how you can tilt your camera. Once you have your phone set up, place your object in front of the camera and start taking pictures. Two key things to know when you do this is, one, you're going to want to make sure that your movement changes are subtle. Otherwise, your object is going to look like it starts here and suddenly appears somewhere else. This might be getting complicated, but the way that animation works, because it's a sequence of images, is that our brain uses those images to fill in the idea of motion. So if one image is of your banana here, and then all of a sudden the next image is over here, well, you just missed that whole tossing motion that I did, because the camera, when it's a video, is capturing that motion. If you were to take a picture of this banana moving, you would have to start here, here, here. You see, it's very, very slow. And then if I wanted to get that fast movement into it, I would jump it to the other side. And then I would do here, here, here to finish the motion. But that's not your story that you're telling. That's just an example of how you would subtly change it. The second thing that you want to keep in mind when you're taking your pictures is that the sequence of images is 12 images per second. So when you're taking your pictures, you're going to want to take at least 12 pictures to get 1 second of animation. It's a reason why animation is such a long process, especially if you are drawing it. And even if you are doing it with just the picture taking, because you will have to fill in the gaps in your brain that your brain is trying to fill in. Once all of your pictures are taken, you're up to the final step of an animation process, and that is you just upload them to an editing software, you put them together, and then you render it out. And there are plenty of free editing softwares out there. There are ones that are on the phone, there are ones that are on the computer. I personally prefer using my laptop just because I prefer the bigger screen. But the main point is that you are able to upload all your photos in one place, and then you get to arrange them in the sequence. And if you're lucky, your video editing software will let you upload all of them, and then all you have to do is just make sure that they're moved and you cut them off. This is the tricky part. I mentioned earlier that you are going to have 12 images per second. So you are going to want to fill in that 1 second of your video with 12 images. And you're going to want to make sure your images are up for a fraction of a second. And it's going to be the same fraction of a second for all of your images. Once you've uploaded all your images and you figured out that, you get to export it and watch your animation play. There's many ways to be able to animate without having the right software, being able to draw. So if you want to animate, I hope this little ramble of mine actually made sense. And it gives you the ability to start animating with just objects that you find around the house. It's really that simple. And if you want to understand the behind the scenes of how great movement is made in animation, check out this video next.